return to positions of access and trust. I urge you to support this, not because trafficking is wrong, because we all agree on that, but because our current response is not enough.
Thank you. Okay, turning to our online witnesses, Katie Moseley, you will have 2 minutes. State the organization you represent. You may begin.
Hello, members of the committee, and thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Katie Moseley, and I am here representing myself and my 2 daughters, whose contact with me has been blocked for over 417 days while they remain at risk of being victimized by the very crime that this bill addresses. Background on me, I'm a certified teacher and a 3rd-year graduate student in clinical mental health counseling. I strongly support this bill because the sexual exploitation of a child is one of the most devastating crimes imaginable. Making sex trafficking a Class 1 felony with life imprisonment reflects the seriousness of that harm. It sends a clear message that Colorado will not tolerate the commodification of children. However, I want to respectfully submit something equally important. Penalties without enforcement are simply symbolic. For this bill to be meaningful, every credible tip, report, or allegation involving the trafficking and sexual exploitation of a minor online through CSAM or in person must be thoroughly and independently investigated. That is not consistently happening in Colorado. Parents who divorce the suspects and report suspicions of CSAM are severely retaliated against by the alleged pedophile rings. Children's lives intercept with multiple systems: family courts, public schools, law enforcement, child welfare agencies, and child therapy clinics. When a parent reports this abuse and trafficking concerns, those reports are dismissed without forensic interviews, without digital evidence review, and without transparent investigation. That allows this exploitation to go unchecked. Modern sex traffickers are targeting upper middle class families using custody as their wall of concealment. This sex trafficking funnel, it's operating as a funnel and it's highly organized. This is especially relevant in Jefferson County Family Court, where individuals are accused of sexual misconduct involving minors when they're in positions of trust and authority and immunity. These are guised as policy and procedural mechanisms, while the protective parent is discredited and treated as unstable for reporting concerns, allowing them to be held hostage and isolated with the alleged suspects. When money is exchanged...
Ms. Moseley, you're a little bit over your time. If you could please wrap up your remarks.
I will, thank you. When money is exchanged for children and it moves through custody orders when there's credible safety concerns, it creates a block to the very bill that this is to address. We can't back down from actually investigating the people in positions of authority and holding them to this Class 1 felony standard. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now hear from Ivy Liu. You will have 2 minutes. State any organization you represent. You may begin.
Hello, this is Ivy Liu from Colorado Springs. Thank you for attacking this unspeakable modern slavery in America. Consider the hundreds of thousands, did you hear what I said? Hundreds of thousands of undocumented children entering the human trafficking pipeline within our very own borders, under the very oversight of HHS, the agency that is supposed to protect and uphold the law. Our own government is directly responsible for ensnaring young children in the brutal sex trade, from which the only salvageable escape is death. So even if the plight of undocumented children doesn't resonate, picture your own neighborhood, a beacon of the American dream, safety, security, and comfort. And here, hidden in plain sight, horrific acts of sex trafficking is occurring, with a significant percent involving biological parents who exploit their own children for drugs and money. These stats are coming from reputable foundations, including Tim Tebow's foundation, which have highlighted alarming statistics showing a skyrocketing surge in online sexual addiction, underscoring a broader moral decline in our society as we drift from godly values. Compounding this, The lenient laws that we have in place often allow predators and child molesters to receive minimal penalties, early parole, and insufficient accountability. We must reverse this trend to halt society's morals erosion. The public education system is committing frontal attacks on the minds of our young children already. This only constitutes more severe threats to the well-being of our children. Change begins when we advocate for stricter laws, rigorous prosecutions without plea deals, and zero tolerance for such offenders. This issue hits close to home for far too many. We can only pray, not yours. By supporting protective legislation HB 1082, we can forge a long-lasting legacy of safeguarding the defenseless, vulnerable, and the innocent, which is an indisputable godly command. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now hear from Mike Rawlick. You will have 2 minutes. State and the organization you represent. You may begin.
I thank you for hearing our words today, committee. My name is Mike Rawlick, and I represent myself. I agree with everything that was said here. I support Rep. Bottoms, and I hope you guys do as well. Last year, by way of comparison, the HB 25-12-14 tried to do away with parole for Class 5 and Class 6. Class 5 and Class 6 includes human trafficking. What if someone plead down from the current Class 2? As someone mentioned, there's a lot of plea bars up there to a Class 5 or Class 6, and an effort like 25-12-14, if that was ever to be successful, there might not be a parole board to actually hear a parole. So we have to think forward as people try to erode certain things. We have to make sure there's ultimate protections in there for kids. They also talked in the use of prison beds bill about budget constraints. If there's a budget constraint, I would ask that you guys endeavor to find the money somewhere else. DPA, Department of Public Administration, has a list of unused properties that could be liquidated to help incarcerate people for life that could ever do this to a human. If a child was victimized, say, for example, at 2 years old, and the criminal was convicted and then paroled in the 3 to 5 years, as we heard in the earlier testimony, then the child will be only 5 to 7 years old and could be re-victimized. These people need to be gone for good. Also, a long time ago, there was a study at MCAS Miramar, the Marine Corps Air Station Miramar, that I learned about. They tried to rehabilitate predators, and it was an absolute failure. I'm not sure if there's more current science on how to rehabilitate a predator. I don't think it exists. So, again, if you're letting people out with a Class 2 felony, maybe plead down to a 5 or 6, and they're out on parole, what's the recidivism rate, and what risk can you take with people? Please support Rep. Bottoms. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and our last witness on this panel, Inka Fantina, you will have 2 minutes. State any organization you represent. You may begin.